Well, this thing's spinning right here. Okay. Alrighty. Good evening. Can you hear me? Good evening and welcome. My name is Missy, and I teach at Earth Treks Golden, and I want to welcome you to live yoga tonight. I cannot have music tonight, so if you want to set up your music and just have it play along while I'm teaching, that's perfectly fine. And for tonight's practice, the most you're going to need is a block. If you don't have a block, just like maybe a soup can, something to kind of elevate your hand. We're going to be working into our hips tonight. We're going to be doing twists. We're going to be doing a lot or some core work and an ample cool down. So make sure you just have whatever makes you feel comfortable for your practice. And let's go ahead and come to a comfortable seated position. I'm going to give this just a couple minutes. My husband is on the tech side, and I hope he's able to hear me. And therefore, hopefully you can all hear me. So again, if you're just arriving, my name is Missy. I teach at Earth Treks Golden and also at Inglewood. I've been teaching there since the gyms opened. So we'll go ahead and get started. It looks like I have my cat with me. Hi, sweetie. I know. So come to a comfortable cross-legged position on your mat. And again, if you're just arriving late, you don't need anything but maybe a soup can or a block, especially if you have tight hips. So we're going to start in sacred silence. So I suggest a comfortable cross-legged position. Maybe one foot is out in front of the other, if necessary. Otherwise, the foot into the crease of the opposite leg. And if you do have a block and you find your knees are kind of crunched up, you can sit up on a pillow or a block just to gently open up the hips. And put your hands on your legs and just close your eyes for a moment. I really appreciate starting in this sacred silence because it's an opportunity to start to observe with curiosity and less judgment what's happening mentally. So just check in with yourself, almost like you're taking a Polaroid snapshot of where your mind's at. And just take a moment to observe with your eyes closed your body. It's like a Polaroid snapshot or a check-in. How's my body feeling? And lastly, Polaroid snapshot of your emotional state. So it's not pushing away the emotions so much, it's just noticing what's my chief emotion that's running right now. When we give our emotions the opportunity to be seen, then they have the opportunity to soften. If we're pushing them away, pushing them into the closet, they're going to keep persisting. Just notice. Bring maybe an inhale breath to that emotion. And just let your shoulders soften. Maybe your jaw, maybe your brow line. I want to thank you for dedicating this 60 minutes to yourself. You can blink your eyes open and inhale, lift your arms up above your head, like you're Lifting the veil of illusion. This life isn't beautiful. Just lifting it up, just so you can peek underneath at pure beauty. Draw your hands down through heart center. So let's start that again. It's like the Wizard of Oz, the guy behind the screen, right? We think it's real, but lift it up. Find the beauty. Find the true exquisite beauty that lies right underneath our issues, our problems, our emotions, our pains. Draw your hands down through heart center. Fill up, lift that curtain up just for a moment to peek. And draw your hands down through heart center. Pull your thumbs on into your heart. If you have an intention for your practice tonight, it could be a dedication to somebody who really needs your love. It could be a way of being, how you want to feel after this class is done. Draw your head down to your own heart to seal in your intention. Go ahead and blink your eyes open. Inhale, lift your arms up to the sky and draw your left hand to your right knee. Your right hand back behind you, just a nice gentle twist. You can pull your belly button into your spine and start to kind of curve your back a little bit. Look down towards your right hip. And then inhale, fill up. Ujjayi out the nose, exhale. Ujjayi pranayama, such a beautiful, powerful breath. Look down towards your left hip. It helps our practice deepen by using that breath. So we inhale through the nose and exhale out. Find that twist to the right. Belly button to spine, look towards your right hip. One last time, inhale, lift, and exhale, twist. Belly button to the spine, to the left hip you go. Now we're going to try eagle arms out. Lift your arms up to the sky and weave your right arm underneath the left, crossing at the elbows. If you can at the wrist, great. You can bring the palms to touch. You can bring the backs of the hands together, or you can bring the hands to the shoulders if that's more comfortable. Twist your chest to the right. Lift up through the heart. If you have your hands touching, lift your fingertips up towards the sky. Almost like you're doing cat pose with your body, and then exhale, or cow pose, and then cat your back down. Wipe the slates clean. Move over to the left and inhale, lift up. Little curve to that lower C curve in your spine, and then exhale, round the back. Wipe the slate clean, and we'll switch sides. Inhale, lift your arms up, look up. Exhale, weave the left arm under. Taking the same options, back of the hands, palms touching or to the shoulders. Now wipe it over to the left, lift up, little C curve in that lower spine, and then exhale, we round it and wipe the slate clean to the right. Now inhale, breathe up. Exhale through the nose, round. Wipe it over to the left and go ahead and come back to center. Inhale, lift your arms up. And now come onto your knees, removing your prop if you used it. Face the front of the mat and bring your hips over your knees. Knees hip width distance, and reach out long to your arms. So think about gaze reaching towards your thumb. Think about chin coming down to the mat. This is not a child's pose. It's more of an extended puppy. So we're trying to bring our heart down to the mat. Gaze is forward if you have a healthy neck, otherwise forehead down to the mat. And just take a deep inhale, filling up. And a new Ujjayi exhale, let it out. Our opportunity to open up our hips. Go ahead and make your way back onto all fours. Kickstand the right foot out to the right. Bring the weight onto the right hand and start to slide the left leg straight. Now roll the left hip on top of the right. Think about belly button pulling in towards the spine and lift your left arm up to the sky. Now make some big circles with the left arm, opening up your shoulder. Opposite direction. And now lift the left arm up. Use the block underneath the right hand if you have it or you need it. You can even pin your fingertips to that soup can. Bend the top leg and capture the foot. Kick the foot back behind you. Just creating a little curve in your back, maybe reaching your head to the back of the foot for 3, 2, and 1. Make your way back onto your knees. So we're going to extend the back leg. Let's extend the left leg and the right arm. Pull the elbow in towards the knee and go for connection. So elbow to knee, reach out long through the right arm, left leg. Exhale, elbow to knee. Last time, inhale, reach out. Go for connection, exhaling all the air out. And inhale, reach out one more time. And now we're going to try on our balance. Try lifting the right toes away from the earth for 5, 4, spreading through those left toes. 3, 2, tuck the right toes under and bring the right arm back by your side. Bend your left knee and capture your foot. This is a reverse dancer pose. Opportunity to open up the hips in the back for 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and release. And let's take the opposite side. Kickstand the left foot out to the left, straighten the right leg back. Remember, block under the left hand if you need that. Roll the right hip on top of the left. Breathe the right arm up. Big circles with the right arm in one direction. Just a couple. Big circles in the opposite direction. And then open up. Lift the left leg away, spread through the toes and bend, or the right leg, bend the right knee and capture the foot. Kick the foot back behind you as you curve your back. Now, if this hurts your back, pull your belly button more towards your spine, but we're still kicking back through the foot for 3, you're breathing, 2, and 1. Make your way back down onto all fours. Now extend the left arm forward, right leg back. Pull the elbow in towards the knee and go for connection. Inhale, find length, tone that right quad. Exhale, elbow to knee. Last time, inhale, find length. Exhale, draw in, even the core. And now inhale, reach out. If you like the core challenge, try lifting the left foot away from the earth for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower back down. Inhale, reach your heart forward, and exhale, round the back towards the ceiling. And let's make our way forward into downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. So we're going to slowly open up the spine. Move the hands forward about 3 inches. Tuck the toes under and start to straighten the legs. Now really look down at the hands. The creases of the wrist should be parallel with the front edge of the mat. So the fingertips are slightly pointing out. You're pressing through all 10 fingers, but especially paying attention to the pointer finger and thumb. You're trying to press through those and press your heart back to your thighs. Your knees can be bent. Slight bend in the knees if you need that. Otherwise, just use your Ujjayi breath, maybe pedaling out those feet for 3, 2, and 1. Let's look towards our hands and bend the knees. Walk each foot in place, each foot one in front of the other until you arrive at the top of your mat. Feet hip width distance. Bring your hands to your shins. Pull your shoulders away from your ears and find length in the back of the neck. Find a belly button to the spine. And then exhale, grab the backs of the calves. Maybe pull the heart towards the shins. Or you take ragdoll where you grab your elbows, opposite hand to opposite elbow, and just let go of any tension in the neck, the shoulders, letting the arms dangle down towards the earth. Maybe shifting the hips over the ankles and seeing if those elbows can come a little bit closer to the earth or fingertips. Take 1 inhale and 1 exhale. Release the fingertips down to the floor and take 1 slow roll all the way up to standing. Think about 1 vertebrae stacking on top of the next, with the head being the last one to come up. Now shrug your shoulders up towards your ears and draw your shoulders back and down your back. Let's take that 2 more times. Inhale, shrug up. and roll back. Last time, inhale, shrug up and roll back. Inhale, lift your arms up to the sky. Think about rooting down from the waist down into the earth. And then from the waist up, you're lifting up towards the ceiling. So it's in two oppositions. Now, grab your left wrist with your right hand and arch over to the right. I like to really press down through my heels and press my heels away from one another. And inhale, fill up. Grab the opposite wrist and arch on over to the left. And inhale, fill up. Spread through those fingers and come down with a flat back forward fold, also known as Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, place the hands on the mat and walk the feet back until you arrive in a plank pose. Now fire up the quads here. Pull the belly button towards the spine. Think about filling in the back waistband a little bit, but letting the back of the heart soften without the ribs protruding too much. Now we're gonna hold this for just a few moments before we come down to our forearms. So go ahead and make your way onto your right forearm and your left forearm. So we're just getting off the wrist and we're holding this forearm plank for 30 seconds. So the first thing I find that starts to go is the mind. The mind says, forget this. This is like too hard. This is not what I was looking for. So how can you incorporate that breath? Incorporate the sounds that you're hearing in the room and allow that to help bring you back to this present moment experience. You have 5. We're coming into forearm side planks. 3, 2, 1. Draw your left hand across the mat and pivot onto the knife edge of the left foot. Lift the right arm out up to the sky. And you can have the right foot scissored in front of the left, or you can draw your left knee down to the mat for an easier variation. Take 3 breaths. 2 and 1. Let's make our way back down to our forearms. 30 seconds in our forearm forearm plank. So come down to your forearms. And you're just breathing. This time, maybe tapping the knees on the mat. Just jogging the knees, but not resting them. Four, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Coming onto your right forearm, reaching the right hand across the mat, moving onto the knife edge of the opposite foot and lift the left arm up to the sky. Left foot scissored in front, stacked, or knee down to the mat. For 3 breaths. And last one. Make your way back onto your forearms and lower all the way down to the belly. Keep your elbows stacked underneath your shoulders. This is Sphinx pose. It's a heart opener. Zipper up the inner thighs. Claw the mat with your fingertips. Pull your elbows back and pull your heart forward. Now, nobody's probably in the house with you. Maybe you have a roommate. Maybe you have a partner. But let's take lion's breath. Take a deep inhale and go, ah. Let it out. Ah. Last one. You do it on your own. Shake the house down. Let it all out. And let's make our way back to hands by the chest. Tuck the toes under. Press up onto all fours. This is a nice gentle vinyasa from the knees. Lift the knees away from the mat and back to downward facing dog. Take one inhale breath and one exhale, heart back to the thighs. Now bend your knees. Start to move a little bit more quickly, feet to the top of the mat. And we'll repeat that a little bit more quickly. Inhale, come to a halfway lift, heart forward, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Uttanasana, grabbing the backs of the calves this time. Hands to the waist, come up with a flat back strong core. Inhale, lift your hands up towards the sky, grab the left wrist, step the left foot back behind you and over to the right. Squeeze your inner thighs together and take a side bend to the right. Exhaling all the air out, keeping the heart lifted and hips square. Come back to center. Place the left foot down. Right foot back behind you and over to the left. Go for square hips. Squeeze inner thighs. Belly button to the spine and arch on over to the left. Inhale, back to center. Nice wide arm swan dive all the way down to the mat. Heading back into your plank pose. Take an inhale breath. This time, lower down halfway. Bend your elbows. Flip to the tops of the feet and pull your heart through, pressing to the tops of the feet, hugging the inner heels together so the lower legs tone. This is called upward facing dog or Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Tuck the toes back under and hips high to the sky for downward facing dog. Just the inhale breath. And exhale, let it out. One last time. Bend the knees. Maybe you jump your feet forward this time. Come to the top of your mat. Inhale, fill up, heart lifts, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Maybe you wrap your forearms behind the backs of your calves, reaching each hand through to the opposite shin. This is called infinity grip. Take one inhale and one exhale. And now reach your hands straight out in front of you. Come up with a flat back all the way up to standing. Grab your left wrist. If you like that version of stepping the left foot back behind you, great. Arch on over to the right with the heart lifted and hips square. And inhale, step it back, right wrist. Right foot back behind you. Squeeze inner thighs. Pull the ribs in and arch on over to the left. Come back to center. Clasp your hands behind your lower back. Reach your one fist back. Let your heart lift. And exhale. Take your forward fold. Now, if that's too intense, grab your elbows. And it's a little bit more gentle. If you want to take a twist, you can bend the left knee and twist the chest to the right. But watch, the right hip's going to want to go back. And the left hip wants to follow it. Try to keep your hips square to the front. If you want to bend the right knee and twist to the left, just gets you deeper into your hamstrings. Let your hands fall to the right if you have your hands clasped, but keep your hips square to the front. Now go ahead and release the hands or the forearms and inhale, lift the arms up to the sky. Place the hands down onto the mat. Walk or jump the feet back. We're lowering halfway down into chaturanga. To the tops of the feet we go, upward facing or cobra. These vinyasas are meant to get you from point A to point B. They're meant to warm up your shoulders, tone your body. If they're ever too much, just cut them out. Take an inhale breath and let it out. We're going to take two more because we're switching gears now. So just focus on that inhale breath going through your nose. Just the inhale. Try to keep your focus right with that breath. And on just the exhale, let it out. Last full breath in. And full breath out. Good work, everybody. Let's go ahead and bend their knees and travel to the top of the mat. We're going to make our way into our hips and our quads. So come into chair pose. So feet can be parallel. Outside of the feet parallel. It can be big toes touching, little space in the heels, or it can be feet hip width distance. Either way, stick your booty back, like you're sitting in a chair. Like you're going to just sit on back. It's there for you. Reach your arms up by your cheekbones or your ears if you can. Now, if this ever gets too much in your shoulders, hands to heart center. Take an inhale breath. Can you sink your hips down a little bit deeper? Now, look at your toes. Can you see them? If not, stick the booty further back, but keep the heart lifted. Slide down your imaginary chair. Take one last full breath and sink your hips down. Thighs should not be lower Booty should not be lower than the knees, okay? For 3, 2, open arm twist. 1, right arm back and left arm forward. Now, if the left knee wants to come, look down at it, draw it back. Keep the heart lifted, vibrancy, reaching out through the fingers, the shoulders hugging into the shoulder socket. Can you sink the hips down? Okay, right arm forward, left arm back. Same thing, right knee, pull it back. Sink the hips down, reach out through the fingers, but hug the shoulders into the shoulder socket. You got this. Inhale, chair pose. Now we're adding on, drinking bird. Reach the arms back behind you. Hug the pinkies together. And then if you have healthy ankles, try to come up onto your toes. Hug the inner ankles together. Keep the core engaged and heart lifted. And try sliding the booty down closer to your heels for 3, 2, and 1. Now come onto your tippy toes. This is called diver pose. If it's too much, draw your heels down. Squeeze your inner thighs together. Now, like you're on a diving board, and you're going to look over that ledge. Maybe you're looking over the ledge of life. Look down, stand your tippy toes. Keep your core engaged. Bow your chest forward. And when you need to lower your heels down, please do so. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Your optional vinyasa. We're going to make our way back to downward facing dog. This is your style. If you want more from your practice, do some tricep push-ups, okay? Elbows are close to your side when you do those. And you can feel them at your waistband. If you want an easier version, you do the vinyasas from your knees. Downward facing dog. Okay, let's lift the right leg up to the sky. This first round, we're gonna bend the right knee and open up the hip. So think about circles with the right knee in one direction. Look at the left armpit. It should be lifted up in line with the right. Big circles with the right knee in the opposite direction. And now straighten the right leg. Fan out the toes and go for square hips here. Draw the knee in towards the nose and stay there. Pull the belly button up towards the spine. For 3, you're hollowing out that core. 2, you're toning it. Beautiful. 1. And inhale, extend the leg all the way back. Awesome job. Full extension. And exhale, pull the foot through, placing it in between your hands. And now we're moving to a pose called lounge lizard. So listen up. You can bring the block underneath your left hand if you need that. We're pivoting on our right heel, pointing the toes to the right corner of the mat. And we're moving on to the outside edge of the left foot. And the ankle isn't just lowering down to the mat. The back leg isn't lazy. We're pressing through the underneath big toe mound of the foot so the ankle lifts. We're adjusting that right foot as much as we need, and then we're sinking the hips down. It doesn't mean the ankle doesn't touch the earth, but there's activity through that back leg. Now lift the right arm up in rainbow. Use your breath. Exhale, sink the hips down. Let's take 2 more. Inhale, lift, and rainbow. Hips lift and hips lower. Last one. Rainbow the right arm around. And exhale, sink the hips. And come back to low lunge with the right hand on the mat. Suck the right leg back. Maybe you take a one-legged vinyasa where you keep hovering the right leg as you come down into your chaturanga. Upward facing and downward facing dog. That's just an option, the one-legged. You do what's right for you. Inhale, extend the left leg back. Bend the left knee. Stack the left hip on top of the right, but watch that right armpit. We're going for square armpits here. Now, try to reach that left foot a little bit further across the room to the right and make some big circles with the left knee in one direction. Big circles in the opposite direction. And go for full extension of that back leg. Fan out the toes, square hips, and draw the knee into the nose. Can you draw the knee up higher towards the chest and hollow out that core for 3, 2, and 1. Full extension of the back leg. And exhale, pull the foot through. Now pivot on the left heel, left toes to the corner of the mat. just as much as you need. And then come onto that outside edge of the right foot. And remember, activity moving to the underneath toe mound of the right big toe. Sink the hips down. Look towards that extended leg. And then lift the hips as you rainbow the arm around. Maybe you look down towards your right hand. Exhale, sink. Inhale, lift. Exhale, sink. Last time, inhale, lift. And exhale, sink. Low lunge on the left leg. Pivot on the heel. Left toes forward. Plant the hands. If you took that Ekapada Vinyasa, that one-legged, pull the left leg back, let it hover. And exhale, your Chaturanga. Both feet to the mat for upward facing. And exhale, downward facing dog. Let's take one full breath here. And exhale, let it out. We'll do that whole sequence one more time. Let's bend the knees, but we'll do it a little bit more quickly. Exhale, come to the top of the mat, and this time, come into a halfway lift. Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. And now Utkatasana, which is chair pose. So this is where we bring the feet parallel. We sink the hips down, arms alongside the ears. We're going to take a prayer hand twist. It's a deeper twist. So it's just an option. You can take that same open arm twist if that's better for you. Hook your left elbow on the outside of the knee. Stick the booty back. Maybe open the arms to fly. Now I'm going to give you a little bit of time here. If you want to take any variations, like side crow, if you have that in your practice, or balancing on your right foot, lifting the left heel up to the booty, or extending it all the way back, you may. For 3, use your breath. 1 more full breath. 2, and 1. Make your way back to chair pose. We're switching sides, hands to heart center. Right elbow's hooking on the outside of the left knee. Still paying attention to make sure the right knee doesn't jet out. Stick the booty back, heart reaches forward, and maybe lift the left arm up to the sky. If you're taking side crow, head there. If you're taking that balancing posture, lift the right heel up towards the booty. Balancing on the left foot, maybe extending the right leg back for 3, 2, and 1. Chair pose. Right into that drinking bird. Remember the arms airplane back behind you. Hug the pinkies towards one another. Maybe come up onto those tippy toes. So think about inner ankles, squeezing together. And then sink the booty down for 3, 2, heart stays lifted, and 1, come on to your tippy toes for diver's pose. Hands are still reaching back behind you. You're squeezing your inner thighs together energetically. You're reaching over your heart forward and looking down, and you're coming slowly down into your forward fold. Heels lower down to the earth when you're ready. And inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, make your way back to downward facing. Great work, everyone. Inhale, lift the right leg up to the sky. We're not going to open the hips this time. Just draw the right foot all the way straight through. Point the right toes to the corner of the mat. Move on to the knife edge. That's the outside edge of the left foot. Energetically reach, spread through those toes and reach to the underneath toe mount. Sink the hips down and rainbow the arm around as you lift the hips. Exhale, sink the hips. Inhale, lift the hips. And sink. Last full breath. Then come back to your low lunge. Plant the hands and travel on back to downward facing. Inhale, lift the left leg up to the sky. And exhale, place it in between your hands. Pivot on your left heel, knife edge of the right foot. Lounge lizard, energetically reaching to the toe mount of the right foot. Sink the hips and inhale, lift, arm and hips overhead. Exhale, sink the hips. Inhale, you lift and breathe. Exhale, you release but stay engaged. Last one. And come back around to your low lunge. Plant the hands on the mat and make your way on back through your vinyasa. Into downward facing dog and pause. Let's take a little break. Widen your knees and bring your knees down to the mat and bring your big toes to touch. Reach out long through the arms, taking child's pose. Resting your forehead on the mat, maybe bringing the palms together and taking reverse namaste with the thumbs back to the back of the neck. I like that version, especially to reach my right elbow forward and then my left elbow further forward, and seeing if I can soften the back of my heart down to the front of the heart, bring the heart a millimeter closer down towards the earth. Feels so good in my upper thoracic spine to kind of open that top of the back. Now, that Polaroid snapshot, come back to that. How are you doing mentally? What has shifted? Notice what has changed for you physically. Polaroid snapshot. And what about emotionally? Everything in life is constantly changing, and attaching ourselves so much to our current moment experience isn't giving ourselves justice, especially when it's in the negative. But trying to find more peace in the present moment. That doesn't mean incorporating with our minds details from the past. That means really trying to honor that present moment experience. Usually doesn't have as much drama as we draw in. So just take one inhale breath and just the exhale. Let's make our way onto our backs. Feet extend out. We're going to work into our core a little bit. So come onto your backs and bring the palms of the hands down to the mat. Lift the legs away from the mat, fan out through the toes. Pull the belly button to the spine. And exhale, lift the feet up towards the sky. Press through the palms of the hands. And when the feet reach just above the hips, reach them straight up as much as possible. And then slowly lower for 5, keeping the quads and belly engaged. 3, 2, 1. Exhale, lift the feet straight up using that lower core. Inhale, lower for 5, 4, 3, 2. Exhale, feet lift, hips lift. Inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2. Exhale, feet lift and hips lift. And inhale, slowly lower for 5, 4, 3, 2. And exhale, feet and hips. Last one. Slowly lower for 5, 4, 3, 2. And exhale, feet lift and hips lift. Lower the feet down to the mat. Let's take bridge pose. Feet are hip width distance, and just lift the hips up to the sky. Maybe you clasp your hands underneath your booty. Maybe you press to the feet, finding more length in the back of the neck, gazing towards the hairline. And lowering down. We're going to do some eagle bound crunches. Left foot to the center of the mat. Right knee crosses over. Now that could be your eagle. If you can, take the next layer across and get the ankles. Great. Totally up to you and your ability. Cross your right arm under, crossing at the elbows, maybe again at the wrist. Now, first step, pull belly button to the spine. Your hips will slightly lift. Can you lengthen the arms? Maybe you tap the toes and fingers down to the mat. And exhale, pull the elbows to the thigh. And think about squeezing the outer hips and engaging the pelvic floor. Now inhale, find length and tap toes and fingers if you can. And exhale, squeeze elbows to knees, belly button to the spine, slight lift of the hips or mula bandha, energy from the pelvic region all the way up. Now inhale, find length. This is 3. And exhale, draw in. Using that full exhale breath like you're squeezing the last bit of water out of a rag. And then inhale. This is 4. Reach out long. Exhale, squeeze in. So these aren't fast. Squeezing the outer hips, mula bandha, that energy from the pelvic region and up. Last one. Inhale, find length. And exhale, squeeze in. And unwrap things. Left sides turn. You can windshield wiper the knees back and forth if you need that. Right foot to the mat, cross the left knee and over, crossing at the knees, maybe the ankles. Think about squeezing the thighs together, cross the left arm under, maybe elbows and wrists. First, belly button to the spine. You're pressing the small of the back into the mat. Find length in the arms and the toes. And exhale. Squeeze elbows to knees, squeezing of outer hips, squeezing from the pelvic region up. And then inhale, find length. You're squeezing those inner thighs together as you draw the elbows to the knees and sucking energy up. Inhale, find length. Maybe you tap. Exhale, squeeze. 2 more. Use that inhale and use that exhale. Last one. And unwind. Let's go ahead and windshield wiper the knees back and forth from right to left. Good work. And hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a sweet squeeze. And take some rocks along the spine, making your way forward. Maybe you get enough momentum that you can rock all the way forward onto your feet and come up to a standing position without placing your hands on the mat. Okay, we're going to take figure 4 from our feet just to warm up the outer hips. So draw the weight onto the left foot and cross the right ankle over. Flex the toes back. Press the knee away from you. Bring your hands to your chest and sink the hips down. Now, if your balance is really off, just come to your wall. Come to your support. Bring one hand to the wall and one hand into that namaste or prayer position. And all we're doing is opening up the outer hips. So sink the hips down. Use your breath. Heart's reaching forward. And then let's try the opposite side. Right foot down. Left ankle crosses over. The toes flex back. The knee presses away. Heart stays lifted. Shoulders come away from the ears. And you use your breath. Last one. And come back to a standing position. Just shake it out. So we're going to try our eagle pose. So we're going to bring the weight onto the left foot. And we're going to lift our right heel away from the mat, almost like we're coming into a high heel, let's say. Okay, and we're going to bend that left knee. That's the first layer. And then we're going to lift the right knee so it's parallel with the earth. We're going to cross the knee over. Now, if you already noticed your balance is off, think about engaging your core more or coming to that wall for support or grabbing a chair. Now, cross the right thigh over, maybe crossing just at the thigh. Maybe you can get the ankle behind. Now, we want to go for knees straight at 12 o'clock. So can you draw your right knee further forward? Squeeze your inner thighs together and sink down into your chair. Now, wrap the right arm under, crossing at the elbows, again at the wrists, if you can. If not, grab your shoulders, lots of variations. Lift your underarms up so they're parallel with the earth. Now, this is a detoxing posture. So squeeze your thighs together, squeeze your arms together, but not your jaw. Can you slide your back down your imaginary chair? Use your inhale and your exhale. You have about 30 more seconds in this posture. So use your breath. And if you fall out of it, come back into it. Give yourself that last 20 seconds. Watch what comes up when we challenge our balance in our mind, in our emotions. We're getting into our hips for 3, 2, which can bring up a lot of emotions, and 1, unravel things and inhale, lift your arms up to the sky. Shake out any legs that you need to, and we're switching sides. right foot to the mat. Hands to waist to start if you want. Stiletto on that left leg. Inner ankles kind of hugging towards one another energetically, and then sink down in the hips. Next layer, bend the left knee. Cross over, maybe at the ankles. Now, can you pull your knees back to center? Lift up through the arms and weave the left arm underneath the right, crossing at the elbows, again at the wrist, back of the hands can touch or hands through the shoulders. Squeeze the thighs and arms together. Even if you have your shoulders, slide your hips a little bit further down. Take another inhale. Exhale, slide down. Maybe you can take one more breath and slide down a little bit deeper, and then we're holding for 30 seconds. And you're using your breath there. Your drishti or gaze is reaching at one spot on the wall in front of you. Because if you're looking at the floor, our body goes where our gaze goes. So if you lift the chin up, then you're more likely to stay level. Otherwise, you start hunching, arms start, shoulders start reaching forward. Use your breath. You have 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and shake it on out. Good work. Let's make our way down to the mat. So we're going to make our way down to our booties and just find length in the legs. Bring your fingertips down to the earth and come onto your fingertips. Stick your booty back and lower down. So you're not on the front of the sit bones. Your back isn't curved so much. It's nice and straight. Draw your shoulders back. Inhale, lift your arms up to the sky. And exhale, reach your hands forward. They may clasp your feet. They may clasp your ankles. But go ahead and pull your heart forward towards your thighs. But think about not forehead down, but heart reaching forward. Squeezing those inner ankles together and just letting the back of the hamstrings, or maybe the lower back for some of you, open. If you have nice open hamstrings and you have a block, you can place that in front of your feet and pull your heart forward. And just use your breath to open up your hamstrings. And last full breath. And let's make our way onto our left hip. So roll onto your left hip and bend your left knee. Draw a parallel with the front edge of the mat. Bring your right ankle over the left knee and think about flexing those toes back. Now, for some of us, this is not happening. You can either sit up onto your block if you have that, or you can draw the sole of the right foot to the mat. So we're just trying to think about breathing that right hip down one day. The back may be a little bit hunched, so can you draw the shoulders back and use your breath? If the shins are stacked on top of one another, maybe you need the hands back behind you for support. If you're really open, place your hands on your feet and press your feet into your hands and pull your shoulders back and think about heart reaching towards the shins. If you would prefer, you can even reach your fingertips forward. Think about dragging the fingertips back. You can even bend your elbows and think about your heart forward. Just opening up those hips a little bit more. So use your breath here. And slowly make your way up out of this. And we're going to go ahead and switch sides. So draw the right foot back down. Bring the right ankle across the mat. First, flex the right toes. Come onto the right hip and draw the left ankle over. This may be where you lie. And you just try to think about breathing that left hip down, trying to keep the heart as lifted as possible, using the block if you need to. And if you're sitting on the block, sit the wide way. It'll be more comfy. Flex the left toes back. Draw that left hip back if you're pretty open in the hips. And again, hands back behind you if you feel a lot of sensation. If you want to feel more, bring your hands to your feet and press feet into hands and hands into the feet and pull shoulders away from ears. And always in yoga, we use our breath. We don't force. So let that inhale come in. You always want that breath to be able to be fluid, and then you lower a little deeper down. So we're using our breath to open up our body. That's one reason why we feel so good after yoga, is bringing that oxygen into our body and allowing our body to slowly open up. Is how we avoid injury. 3 deep breaths. And slowly release out of this. Straighten the legs. Let's slowly lower onto your back. So the lifted heart, palms facing towards the ceiling. Let's slowly lower down. We're going to come into plow pose. So bring the palms of the hands to the earth and rock the feet back and overhead. The toes do not have to touch the mat. You prefer to take deaf man's pose. You bend the knees and think about knees to the temples if you can reach it. If your legs are straight, toes may or may not touch the mat. If you're taking shoulder stand, the hands come to the lower back and feet reach straight up towards the ceiling. You want to make sure you have a healthy neck and spine if you're taking shoulder stand and you're not looking from the right to the left, because that can be kind of sensitive for the neck. If you're taking shoulder stand, the energy is reaching up through the feet. One day the feet will stack over the hips, and the hips may or may not stack over the chest, but you're in one straight line. Now use your breath. Let's take 5 full breaths in whatever posture you found yourself in. Last one. And slowly make your way out. If you're in shoulder stand, to plow pose. If you're in plow pose, come onto your back and bring your knees into deaf man's pose. And if you're in deaf man's pose, make your way onto your back and just hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a sweet squeeze and just close your eyes for a minute. What was your intention? If it was a feeling intention, just notice what's shifted. If it was a dedication to somebody, draw your awareness back to that person or thing. And send your energy to your intention. We're going to take a supine twist in a happy baby pose before we move into our final Shavasana. So let's go ahead and straighten the left leg and hug your right knee into your chest. And just compression squeeze it into your chest. We're going to lubricate the hip joint. Now draw your right knee over towards the right armpit. Yeah, the right armpit, and kind of squeeze it towards that right armpit. And then gently release it away from the chest a little bit and pull it over towards the left armpit. And you have to be very careful because it's kind of, it can be sensitive in the hips. But just think about squeezing the knee towards the chest a little bit, but towards that left armpit. And now fully release. Pull the knee across with your left hand and reach out long through the right arm. And all I want you to do is keep both shoulders on the mat. The right knee may or may not touch the mat. And we're using our breath to just start to soften our body, soften our experience. I know for me today, it's been one heck of a day. I've been completely thrown off my center. And everything about Facebook Live has been challenging for me tonight. Even the screens flip the opposite direction. So the way I've been teaching my live classes is totally different. I've had to make a massive adjustment just to kind of show up for you guys. Not being able to see anybody, I know has been hard on me. So let's just start to let this present moment experience sink in. Now let's go ahead and switch sides. So straighten the right leg and pull the left knee into your chest and just give it a sweet squeeze. And now reach the left knee over towards the left armpit. And just kind of squeeze it into your side body. And now lift it away and pull it over towards the right armpit. And just gentle on that outer hip. Squeeze it on your chest, but towards that right armpit. And a last, pull the knee across the body as you extend out long through that left arm. And soften any tension that you have in your jaw, in your eyebrow line. That part doesn't need to be helping you out here right now. And just take a few more deep breaths and just notice, how has my experience shifted? One last full breath, just the inhale. Focus on that inhale coming in your body and leaving. Make your way back onto your back. Show the feet to the ceiling. Bring the feet nice and wide and almost like your feet are getting a suntan. We're going to take happy baby pose. So clasp the feet from the inside or the outside. If that's not accessible, grab the ankles and pull your knees down on either sides of the ribs. And think about length in the tailbone. Even lift the back of the head away from the mat and lengthen the back of the neck. So we're trying to get more length in that whole spine. And then lower the head back down and pull down on the feet or the ankles and press up into the feet, into the hands, and find more length in the spine. As you take one last full breath, just the inhale and the exhale. Wrap your arms tightly around your knees. Reach your biceps around your shins. Lift your forehead up. Squeeze your forehead into your knees and squeeze every cell and muscle in your body and your face in tight, 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 tight. And the last, release into your final Shavasana. Shavasana is a resting position. They call this the hardest position of yoga. And when I first heard that, I just kind of laughed. I said, no, that is so funny. That's not true. It is when you're practicing it in its entirety, because when you're really truly practicing Shavasana in its full expression, you're watching yourself be in Shavasana. You're completely present with your experience. So I'm going to help you do that. Go ahead and bring your arms by your side, feet to the corners of the mat. And if you would prefer a more grounding position, you can bring one hand to your belly and one hand to your heart. And close your eyes. And we're going to draw our awareness to our eyebrow line. See if we can get the top of the forehead to relax. By giving something for our monkey mind to do, we can stay more present. Draw your awareness to your jaw. Give your jaw permission to relax. Now your shoulders. Your heart. See if you can relax it a millimeter more. Your arms, biceps, forearms, even your hands. See if there's any energy. Check in, reaching through your hands. Start to notice your belly. You holding energy there? Can you just relax it? Your hips, your whole pelvic region. Your thighs and your hamstrings. Your glutes. Your shins. your calves, your ankles, and lastly, your feet. Start to invite a breath back into your body. Just watch the breath come in and watch the breath go out. Bring some gentle movements in your fingers. Even bring your pointer finger to touch your thumbs. Third finger, notice, what does my skin feel like? Is it rough? Is it warm? Touch your ring fingers, your pinkies. This life is so precious. It's such a gift. Slowing down with the simplicity. So beautiful. Go ahead and start to make your way into long arms, like a nice early morning stretch. When you're ready, make your way into a comfortable seated position. Keep your eyes closed or your gaze soft. Bring your hands to heart center. And I want to thank you each for coming and practicing yoga, live yoga with Earth Treks Golden. It's my pleasure to guide you. Let's take a deep inhale. And first and foremost, bow your forehead down to your own heart, just in honor of you and all that you are, not changing anything, how you are today. And inhale your thumbs to your third eye center, being able to recognize the light and love in others, even though they may not demonstrate it, is what namaste means. It means I know that there's a center, a light in you. I know that there's a heart in you. And sometimes some people challenge us, and it's hard to see that. But holding space for others to grow in that manner is what namaste means. The light in me sees the light in each of you. Thank you so much for joining. Namaste. I really wish I could see you all. I am leading 2 live yoga classes during the week, so you can find me on Facebook if you'd like to join. I do those on Zoom, and I'm able to see you all, which is such a gift, being able to see you, I realize. But thank you so much for joining us on this platform. And we are leading a bunch, like at least 1 yoga class per day between Earth Treks Golden and Earth Treks Inglewood, and I think even the other gyms throughout the country. So please check us out for a lot of other live streaming classes. We're also doing like more HIIT classes. So please check those out. I believe they are all open to the public. So quite lovely thing that they're doing. I wish you all a beautiful evening, and thank you so much for joining me. All the best. To save it. So do I end the live video, and then where do I save?